Hi guys, hey there. My name is Lungile and this is Lily's Bible. I hope that you guys are doing well and are having a wonderful day. I wish you all a wonderful week ahead. And if you're watching this at night, I hope you had a wonderful day and you're all having a good nighttime. um anyway, so in today's video, I just wanted to I'm gonna be talking about my story when it comes to my faith and religion and everything that I've discovered thus far. So I started my journey last year. I think towards the end of the year, I can confidently say that that's when I started my journey. Not to say that prior to that I wasn't like a Christian, or I didn't used to pray or anything like that. I did. I prayed prior to that. Um I also did identify as a Christian. I went to church here and there, but it wasn't like something that I was very intentional about. It's just something that growing up, I was told that, I mean, there's God, we have to pray, go to church, and things like that. But it wasn't like something that they actually set me down with, like, girl, that's what's going on. One, two, and three. When it comes to religion, there this and that, you pick and choose. It wasn't something like that. And which honestly I'm not even complaining about, because I followed this because it's something that my family followed, which is being a Christian and following Jesus. And yes, I followed that and going to church and things like that. I followed that, learned how to pray, which I really am grateful for, because it served as a baseline. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am right now, because it's something that I've known all my life. And I think last year, or even the year before actually, I started getting more curious about it and wanting to be more intentional. But it was an on and off thing. And then I think that towards the end of last year, that's when I was like more intentional about it. And I wanted to actually like go in deeper and get to know who God is exactly. I had these questions of like, I think also not even questions necessarily. I think also like social media, as much as social media, like it has such a bad connotation to it, and it actually is like, it has its own things, right? But because of social media, I started like wanting to actually like some things like hearing people's testimonies, hearing like getting across like stories about like people's encounters with God, things like that, and watching these movies that are based on real life events. That made me get more interested and curious and actually want to know more. That's basically like how I came about to being here. And another thing also is that personally, for the longest time, I've always said this to myself, not knowing if you've heard me say this as somebody who knows me, but I've always said this for the longest time. I don't believe in coincidences, guys. I really don't believe in coincidences. And with that being said, then it means that there is something behind everything that is happening. Like there is a reason for everything that is happening. Everything is happening as it kind of should. As it should, because there are no coincidences. I really and truly don't believe in coincidences. It's just, I just don't. I don't. Hence, I think also I wanted to know more about God, because I do believe all the goodness of the world, they come from God. And it's something that I got from the Bible. So, my journey basically is that for the longest time, like I did say, my family would go to church here and there. It was an occasional thing. It wasn't like something that was consistent and something that was like um 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 rooted in us, and like we're told from growing up that you have to go to church, you have to read the Bible, you have to do this and this, you have to pray. It wasn't something like that. But when it comes to prayer, they did urge us to pray. We would see them also praying, and we got curious as to like why that is. And we were let known also, like the schools that I've gone to, they encouraged praying at schools, and also some schools even had Bible studies that I gone to. So I like there was that sort of baseline, I'd say, with when it comes to my life, and hence I actually identified as a Christian. But I think for the longest time I didn't understand the depth of it, and I didn't understand all that a person needed to do to actually really and truly follow Jesus and actually get to know Jesus and live a life that actually glorifies God and honors God. And I didn't understand what that looked like and what that meant up until like I think it was last year, really and truly, when I started getting more interested. And then last year, that's when I was like, I really need to do this. I want to get to know God. So now my journey, like I said, I wasn't like a person who went to church. It didn't seem like a need for me to do it. I don't know. It wasn't something instilled in me. I wasn't resistant whatsoever when it came to going to church, and I had like barely like I could choose whether I wanted to go or not. But it wasn't something like nah man, or something like yeah, it wasn't in like something engraved in me. I had these like I think also when it comes to having all these like choices, you make whatever choice that comes to mind, whatever makes sense to you at the time. So it's like some things don't seem like such a necessity. So, with that being said, like I didn't understand the depth of it, and then coming across some videos and also talking to a lot of people, and also like getting more interested in starting to go to churches. Our school actually has a church, so like doing those things and also being being in the same space with other people who are Christian, who are following Jesus, and who are intentional about their journey with Jesus, like it made me be more interested and actually like want to understand what that looks like. It made me understand also that what I've been doing all my life, that my friend, is just shallow. There is so much that goes in deeper into you getting to know God. I just thought that all I had to do was pray and go to church whenever. But all I had to do, the main thing that I needed to do, is pray. That's all I thought. And I remember, like, I did mention, I don't know if you guys remember, but in one of my videos, I did mention to you guys that the longest time praying, like, I find myself with, like, in a position where I really didn't even know how to do it. And there's another video that I actually want to do about my encounter and my understanding when it comes to praying, and all of that I've learned thus far, and how like my journey with God actually transformed my understanding with prayer. So that's something that I really want to talk about in more detail. But I don't understand, like I didn't get the need. Like I just thought that's all you needed to do. And then once I started getting more interested and coming across all these things, and I wanted to know more, then I thought, because the main thing that I found from every platform, from wherever, it's the book of life, it's the Bible. That's the main thing. That's like the basis of everything. That's what everybody would talk about. That's what everybody would reference to, the Bible. And for me, that was a bit of a challenge, because the Bible has always been something very intimidating to me, because from my experience, I didn't understand anything in the Bible. Not that I've like actually sat down and took the Bible in the past and actually read through it. No, I didn't do that. But I just didn't understand like a lot of things that were read at the church. Some of the things that you would like, yes, basically like some scriptures or two that they would read at church. I just thought that everything was like that. Every Bible was like that. And I just found it pointless for me to actually read something that I won't understand. Not understanding that, also not knowing that there are resources that actually do help make sense of things in the Bible. At the time, for me, it just felt like it was just something that it just won't make sense. It won't make sense. I was just very intimidated by it, and I didn't even want to give it a try. I just like, also the Bibles that I would come across that I've seen, they're very big, like, and I'm just like, there's no way that I'll be able to read this. Okay, there's just no. And with the way that they're actually writing, it just seemed like, whoa. Already at school, I'm having such a hard time with what is it? with Shakespeare, like the thou shall not. And it just seemed like the Bible was also like written like that. And I'm just like, I don't get this. I don't understand, and I won't understand it, to be honest. Therefore, that's a route that I just never thought ever in my life that I would take. Up until my great aunt gifted me this Bible, the best. It makes so much sense, guys. It makes so much sense. And I think as beginners, people who are trying to get to know God and start to read the Bible, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one who felt like this. I thought all Bibles were the same. They're all written the same. There's no way that the English will be like dialed down a little bit, or like it would be a bit like easier to read. I didn't think that there were Bibles like that up until I got this Bible, which, oh my god, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense to me. Now I don't even have to think too much about it. And there's also this app that I have, I'll leave it here, that also like kind of like delves in deeper in the Bible, on what like the Bible is about. So it's like doing that basically. So what I'm trying to say is that as people who are beginning being in the journey with Christ and wanting to know God more, oftentimes there's that intimidation when it comes to like the resources you need to use for you to actually build your relationship with God. And the main resource is this, you guys, the Bible. And oftentimes a lot of people, they feel so intimidated by it because why? There isn't a lot of like, we're not told that no, you don't have to feel like that. Or at least for me, I never had anybody to tell me that like there are different Bibles. There are like more easier and understandable Bibles, or like there are platforms for you to actually like understand more. I didn't have that. Like I didn't have that. Hence, I was like against like the whole idea, or I kind of gave up on the whole idea. But then the nice thing that I realized also is that as much as like there will be times where like I just felt disheartened, and I just felt like, yes, I want to do this, but like I don't understand, and I would just like kind of give up. There will be this thing that comes to me, like it always comes back actually. Like that feeling of wanting to know God always would come back. That feeling of wanting to like learn how to pray, that feeling of wanting to like whenever I would hear people reference into the Bible, also wanting to be able to do that would always come. Wanting to know God, wanting to be able to pray in a way that is going to be more understandable. I like wanting to like be a follower of Christ. Like that feeling would always come, and that is something that I'm really truly grateful for, because had that not been the case, I don't think I would be at this point in my life where like I actually am starting to be more intentional about my relationship with God, my journey with God, and like getting to know God more and building my life based on God, and using this guideline. This guideline. You guys, you would hear that there is no guideline in life. And from my experience, ever since starting to read the Bible, honestly, I feel like the Bible serves as a guideline. Correct me, but to be honest, from my own experience, from the books that I've read in the Bible, it serves as a guideline. It really does. Like there'll be something. It's like, for example, currently I'm reading the book of James, and I know I've been saying this for a while because I'm still like, I just want to sit in it and really understand and grasp it. Excuse me. The book of James goes in so much detail about ways on how to live. Like there are so many things that they say that also make you think about your current life and your current life situation. So it's like discovering things like that and learning more about things like that, and encountering verses and books that talk about that. This, my friend, is a guideline to life. Following the book of life. It's like, I believe there's this chapter in the book of James where it's about faith in action, where like faith without action in it's pointless, to be honest. Your faith is made perfect through your actions. That hit hard to me because I didn't know. I just thought I needed to believe. There'll still be doubts here and there, but I just needed to try and really believe and have faith in God without really doing much. I thought that that's all it meant. But that's not the case. It doesn't work like that. You need to do in order for you to show that you are faithful. You need to take those risks in order for you to show that you are faithful. So I'm saying this to say that my journey really and truly hasn't been easy, but this is how far I've come now. And to be honest, I'm really grateful. Um, I'm realizing now and looking back, I'm seeing that a lot of times, even in the past, as identified as a Christian, I wasn't intentional with my journey with Christ. I didn't know anything up until I started picking up this book and actually starting to know more and realizing that it takes so much for you to actually be a follower of Jesus. It takes like, it's not just you saying that I pray and that's it. There are things that you need to do, things that need to reflect that you are a child of God, things that need to show, some characteristics that need to show in you to show that yes, you are a follower of Christ. And for the longest time, I didn't know. And up until like now, I'm still learning. I am still learning. I'm still a beginner. I'm still trying to find a way in which like I'm going to spend more time with God on my day-to-day basis and be more intentional with it. There are times where it does feel like a chore, but I'm still working on that. I'm still praying about it. And I encourage you guys also, like I'm encouraging anybody, and I wanted to share my story. I know it wasn't like a crazy like testimonial thing, like where like a big thing happened, but for me, I made this decision to follow God because of, I'd say, a lot of things that it would be happening in my life. And like how I said also, I don't believe in coincidences, and I did believe that there's a higher power above me. There's someone greater who is in control of our life, who's taking charge and who's fighting for our sins and our struggles, and who is actually redirecting us. When I like there'll be that gut feeling type things, those things, it's not coincidental. There's no way that this is happening in just in so I wanted to know, and I really wanted to show my appreciation to that person, to that great being that is taking care of us. And I chose to follow the one thing that I've always known, which is Christianity, the one thing that makes sense to me, the one thing that I grew up in, which is Jesus. It has always been based on that, and it made sense for me to actually follow Jesus, and now it does make sense to me. And like I don't even have to question a lot of things. Even when I pray, I do believe, and that's where like faith comes in. That's where like trust comes in. When you are praying and you actually do believe that what I'm praying for, I'm not just talking. I am heard. And what is happening right now, it took some time for me to actually get to this point. And I'm not gonna lie, there comes times where like I am questioning if whether really and truly I am heard, if whether what I'm praying for makes even sense or is even like heard really and truly. There come times when I'm questioning a lot of things that would happen. But again, like how I mentioned, you guys, our ways are not God's ways, and I had to learn that. And that's the thing when it comes to this journey, building your relationship with God, with Jesus. That's the thing. It just takes constant practice. You need to polish your faith day to day, because it's gonna be tested on a day-to-day basis. And I had to like I didn't even know that, to be honest, that like our faith are tested on a day-to-day basis, because there would be times, yes, I would see myself like kind of losing faith a bit, and feeling like there's no way, there's no way that this is gonna happen. Yes, I keep on praying, but it's like those are the things that ends up like pulling you away from God. And I had to learn that, and I encourage you guys that, because I know it's not easy at the beginning. You have a lot of questions. You've never seen God, you've never seen Jesus. You are hearing all of these things, and you just have to believe for it to be true, and actually do your own research as well, and see what feels right for you or to you. It had like I needed to do all of that in order for me to see, and in order for me to get to where I'm at. It's still a work in progress. It really is. Like I said, I'm still looking for a structure that's gonna not feel like, or even like a schedule that's not gonna feel like now, it feels like a chore. I'm working on prioritizing God. And I think that's where it all begins. Being intentional with your time with God, being intentional with all the things that you are doing. When, like, like that, when maybe you're doing something wrong, and then you kind of like have this, like, I think at some years they call it's a conscience, but I think it's so much bigger than that. And I think it is God, especially when you start becoming a believer and you read the Bible. You hear the things you hear the things that are in the Bible, and you actually want to start, you find yourself drawing more into that and getting reminded of all those things that you read in the Bible that made sense to you at the time. So it's all about that. It's honestly all about that. It's all about like reading the Bible and not just leaving it there. When I started my journey, I was just doing that. When I started my journey, my goal was to just, I wanted to know as many books as possible from the Bible. And for me, it didn't even matter whether like I can actually recite it back, whether like I can remember it properly. What mattered for me is just to say that I did read the book of James. I did read the book of John. I know, I kind of have an idea about what you're talking about. I read the Bible. I just wanted to identify as somebody who reads the Bible. But as time went, I realized that I would read these books, yes, but I wouldn't remember a lot of things, right? Because I wasn't intentional about it. I would just read to pass by. I wasn't studying the Word of God. I wasn't being like with the Word of God. Reading the Bible is all good. It's very good. But being intentional and wanting to understand what you're reading and actually using that in your life. I mean, that's the whole point of the Bible. Not just you reading and just moving away. Reading and actually being intentional, reading and actually like finding yourself getting reprimanded as you go about your life and you're doing things that are against the Word of God. Because why? You have that knowledge. You have that knowledge of what you need to do for you to be a man of God. So I really hope that this made sense. Yes, like I said, it's a journey, and Name, my journey is so flawed, you guys. I do find myself doing some things that, or like feeling a certain way, but it's all a battle. You fight every day, and you fight to like pull away and to get closer and closer to Jesus, so that you don't fall in that deep hole of like comfortability and just feeling like, you know what, nothing bad has been happening. Another thing that I realized, even with me saying that, is that I remember last year when I was fairly like at the beginning of my journey, I encountered a lot of weird things when I started being intentional with God. And I think from my experience, those weird things that I encountered, like maybe you would have like weird dreams, like nightmares, or you would have like sleep paralysis. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, I never ever in my life had those things. Never in my life felt like a lot of things were going wrong in my life. Never ever. But the minute I started like wanting to know God more and being intentional, and I didn't even get it, and I think like that's another thing that would end up pulling a lot of people away from actually wanting to know God, is things like that happening because they feel like, oh, before I started praying, before I started being more intentional about my time with God, all these bad things are not happening. But then again, what I realized is that that's when your faith is being tested. Even like, the devil is not happy that you are wanting to know God more, that you are trying to build a relationship with God. He wants you in jail, at a place where you don't know anything, at a place where you're clueless, at a place where you make all these mistakes and you're not even repenting on them, at a place where you are so drifted and far from God. And that time you feel so comfortable and you feel like, you know what, things are just happening, it's just life, and you're not actually seeing it, like realizing that it's so much deeper than that, realizing that, it really is so much deeper than that. At the beginning, I honestly was scared, I'm not gonna lie, and I think I did drift away for a bit, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna stop, I'm just gonna pray, and that's it. I'm not gonna but that's the thing, that's what it wants you to do. Don't do that, don't fall in that hole. I'm just grateful that, like, even though there were times when I felt like that, but I still got like pulled back into wanting to know God more. Still, like, felt like there would be moments where like I really and truly just want to pray. moments where like my prayers at that time, like I just feel like, yeah, I could go on and on and on. It wasn't always the case. I'll find myself not even knowing what to say. Even till this day, I still find myself having a hard time when it comes to praying. But it's a work in progress. You work on it day to day because something's so dear and important to you. And it's something that is so dear and important to your creator, because he is your creator, your protector. You need to build that relationship, get to know him, know exactly what he wants from you. You know? I really hope that this made sense. I kind of do feel like it was a bit all over the place, and now I'm kind of speaking a bit too fast because I really don't want it to be too long. But it's like, guys, I just wanted to like put it out there and hopefully like serve, like be able to encourage one or two people to also not be afraid. Because for someone who has been there, I know exactly what you must have been going through, or what you encountered as well, or what you are currently going through, and you want to build a relationship with God and you feel somewhat lost, but now, and there's this void inside of you, and that void, my friend, it's none other than the void of the longingness to know God. There's that longing, you know, there's a missing piece inside that is going to make you feel whole, and the only one that can do that, is God. I'm still in the process of actually like knowing more and obeying God, and like being more intentional about a lot of things. I'm not perfect, but I just wanted to share something and just say something in the hopes of it touching one or two people, in the hopes of it like being a push for one or two people. This is my story. It wasn't anything fancy or anything crazy, but it's just my story, and it's still an ongoing story that I'm still writing, that I'm still polishing, that I'm still like really and truly working on. And I really hope that like this really did serve as some sort of like push reminder, and it inspired you in any way, even if it's just one person. I just really and truly wanted to like share my journey and my like the lessons that I've learned thus far, my encounters, and all of that. So please, if you enjoyed this video and this is something that you're really interested and intrigued by, please do like and subscribe. And also, if it's your first time seeing me, please look around and see if this is something that you'd like. I'll be doing a lot of like I did mention, a lot of sit down videos just talking about my experiences in life, and a lot of them are gonna be faith-based, to be honest, like because they're gonna be all rooted in like my journey with God, because that is the basis of my life basically. So and also my like discovery in a lot of things, and also vlogs here and there. Yeah, so I really hope that you guys like this video and it made sense. Please do like and subscribe, and show some love. Bye.